What is keeping you from having what you desire to have? What is it that you desire to have? So many people, they either have a clue what they want to have or they don't have a clue what they want to have, but they're half of what they want to have. See, I say this all the time. You can't expect to have what you desire to have for a long period of time if you're half of what you want to have. See, God wants you to be whole so that you can hold. Think about all the stuff that you want to have. Take a little, get a sheet of paper right now. Write down everything you desire to have in life. Relationally, professionally, financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, generationally. What are those things you desire to have? Now, you must ask yourself, am I equipped enough to have it long? I talked to my students today in my Bible class. I asked them to list all the things that they want to have in life. And then we begin to talk about, especially for my athletes in the room, we begin to talk about all the players who accessed the NBA but did not stay in the NBA long. I begin to talk to them about how right now you do not lack access, you lack awareness, you lack preparedness. A lot of people right now, the prayers they're praying to God, God is like, man, hey, you can access that. You can access that promised land. That promised land is yours. But if you do not have, or if you don't become the individual and do what must be done, then my friend, you're not going to have. And in this video, I just want to challenge you to assess whether or not you are half or whole. And begin to ask yourself, do you have the strength to be able to hold what you desire to have? So let's talk about this formula, be, do, have. That, like I said, I want you to write down on a sheet of paper everything you want to have in life. You want to have a marriage. Great. How long do you want to have a marriage? Do you want to have a marriage for 4 years or 40 years? Oh, you want to have children? How long do you want to have them? Do you want to have them in your ecosystem, in your loving support for 18 years? Or do you want them to be in your world for 30 plus years? Like you want to have success? Well, how long do you want to have a success? So when you begin to think about have, you got to begin to assess, what all comes with having. See, God wants us to become individuals who are strong enough to hold. Do you know how difficult it can be to hold a position in a marriage that you're half of the husband of, half the wife of? You know how difficult it will be to hold your children when you're half the parent you need to be? Do you know how difficult it will be to hold a business, a successful one, when you're half the entrepreneur that you need to be? So do you have what it takes to have what you desire for long? But let's talk about be, do, have. And one thing that I love about that I got this formula from Myron Golden and I installed it with a couple of other points into my coaching program is that right now you can have whatever you want to have in life. But you have to remember that you are not a human having. You're not a human doing. You are a human being. Who are you becoming? I love the word become because there's two words in the word become, be and come. The goal in life is not to go after what you want, but to attract what you want. See, God wants us to be attractive. That's why he calls us lights. He wants us to become more like him. And so when you think about the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve were deceived by Satan, they didn't lose God's image. They lost God's likeness. See, if the image bearing was enough, then you would have attracted those things long enough. But it's not being or bearing the image of God that attracts things in your life. It's being like him. Do you know the more you're like God, the more things will be likable to you, the more things will be living in your ecosystem, the things will be attracted to you. The more you become like him, the more things of him will come to you. So what are you attracting? In order to attract, you have to subtract. Less is more. And so now you got to ask yourself, who am I becoming? Who am I being? Am I being like him? Am I embracing that in him I live, move, and have my being? Because when you think about who you're becoming, then you'll begin to say, hey, who must I be to do what must be done, to have what I must have so I can have what I want to have for a long period of time so God can excrete out of what I'm having glory. God cannot be glorified, quote unquote, in a failing marriage. He is glorified in a marriage that's a beacon of light for 40 years. God cannot get glory out of your parenting if you're not parenting. God gets glory when you're able to steward your children well. But that takes investment. That takes 18 years of investment. That takes 18 to 20, 30, 40 years beyond that. So that when it's all said and done and your parenting has been established, your marriage has been established, your integrity in business has been established, then God can excrete out of that glory. But the more you allow him into your story, the more he can excrete glory. Therefore, you will become a person that can have a lampstand of marriage, a lampstand of parenting, a lampstand of business that will shine light for generations to come. So what is it that you want to have? Are you half the person? Are you doing half of what must be done, equating to you only having half of what's needed to have for a long period of time? So what is it that you want to have? You got to think about it. And the reason why God made us or wired us to want to have, that's why it's interesting. When you grow up in life, most of us, we have things that we want to have, right? Growing up as a teenager, I will go through rich neighborhoods and I will look at these houses and be inspired by one day I want to have a house like this. And then when a Rolls Royce pulls up beside me throughout the years of my life, I'll look at it and there's something in me wired as a human being. Oh, I want to have that. And then when I see relationships that I admired growing up, I'm like, oh, I want to have that. The reason why God allows things to pull up beside our lives or allow us to drive through the cul-de-sacs of these areas and to begin to be around different things, because he knows that when a human begins to desire to have something, they're going to bump up to the reality, hey, in order for me to have this, I must do this. In order for me to have this, I must do this. Oh, in order for me to do this, I have to invest in me becoming. The more you invest in you becoming, the more you will do and the more you will have. Imagine if you increase by 10% in your being. If you increase 10% in your being, investing in your spiritual development, investing in your relational development, investing in your emotional regulation, investing in your belief systems and building it stronger. Imagine if you just increase by 5% every week, or you increase by 10% every quarter. That means your doing will increase. You'll read more. You'll spend time with your family. You'll start doing things that will make you have things longer. That's why, in order for me to ensure that my marriage thrives, I have to every day invest in becoming a better husband and becoming a better father, by ultimately becoming a better child of God. The more I focus on becoming more in him and being like him, the more I'll actually do. Then my wife will get the hug she needs. Then she'll get the time she needs. And my daughter will get the time. Then all of a sudden, the more I do as a husband, the more I do as a father, then there will be a residue on my marriage that God is in it through and through. And then all of a sudden, I will be fortified with the capacity to have a marriage, to have a family long enough. So imagine if you, my friend, increase by 3% weekly, increase by 5% weekly, increase by 20% quarterly, then you will find yourself doing more. Then you'll find yourself having more in stock. And then you'll begin to have things longer than any clock can calculate. That's just something I want to put in your mind and in your world, so that you'll begin to start examining, hey, who am I becoming? What am I becoming? What must be done for me to have fun with family, fun in business, fun in ministry for a long enough time where God can fully be glorified from it and that he can use it to draw others back to himself? I hope this message was a blessing to you. I hope it got you thinking. I have an activity for you. All I want you to do right now on a sheet of paper, write down everything you want to have in life. I don't care if it's houses. I don't care if it's a car. I don't care if it's success. I don't care whatever it is, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, relational, generational, financial, whatever it is. Write down in those categories everything you want in life to have. Then ask yourself, what do you have to give what you want to have? Then examine with the things that I have, is it enough to have this for long periods of time? Because I told my students, the worst thing, we talked about how Bama players and people who go to these from poverty, go to these colleges or go to the league. I heard a motivational speaker say, I don't know if it was Inky Johnson or Eric Thomas, but one of them said this. He said, Eric Thomas, he said, the worst thing that can happen is for you. He said, it's better for you to never taste success than to taste it and can never taste it again. He was talking about how athletes, they'll taste what it's like to play for Bama. They'll taste what it's like to play for the Chiefs. They'll taste what it's like to play in the league. They'll taste success. But because of their lack of having, and because of their ignorance, and because of their negligence, and because of their whatever it is, they tasted it, experienced it for a year or two, and then got sent right back to the place that they once left. Is that you? Are you an individual right now that you like, man, hey, man, I want to have a 40-year marriage. I want to have within 40 years your kids. You want to have where your kids love to be around you. You want to have a business that creates generational wealth that impacts your children's children. You want to have, if that's what you want to have, then my friend, I want you to do this activity. And if you say you need a little bit more help in this, I want you to say, hey, coach, I need help. And all you got to do is message me the word whole, and I'll look at it how I can help you and help you become not just half the man, but a whole man, a whole woman of God. But back to the activity. I want you to write down everything you want to have. Then I want you to examine, do what you currently have, will it help you have that thing for long? Once you do that first stage of the activity, next thing I want you to do is, what must you do to have those different things? And then once you look at your do, go to your be. Who must I become to do the things, to have what I need to have so I can have what I would like to have for a long period of time where God is ultimately glorified, my family fortified, demons horrified. If you want that way of life, do that activity. And if you need help with this and making sure that you fortified, God being glorified and etc., then message me and I look forward to serving you. I pray this video was a blessing. Hope you got something out of it. Man, tons of resources, 11 books, 5 card games, books on soul ties, books on purpose, books on relationships, books on singleness, books on spiritual warfare, books on discernment and how to know the will of God for your life. Card games as such, 5 card games. Coaching program, have free assessments. If you want to know where you are in life and be able to gauge how far you need to go in order to have what you desire to have, especially as an entrepreneur, a high achiever, or anyone desiring to be great, check out your whole life success score. Go to my website, mycoachjosh.com, under the tab assessments. It's free. Take the whole life success scorecard. That right there will give you a score of your life right now out of all the categories of your legacy, your personal development, your relational wholeness, all those different things. Take that assessment. That'll let you know what your score is. And it will give you strategies on how to increase your score. And also, if you need help with that, you can also contact me through that assessment to see how we can schedule a call to see what kind of plan that we can create for you to help you really score higher in every area so that you can grow holistically for God's optimal. So I also got 2 other assessments that are free. A purpose assessment to show you where you are in regards to purpose. And also I have an assessment on what type of entrepreneur you are. Are you a wholespreneur or a wholepreneur? A wholepreneur is an individual, a wholespreneur, H-O-L-E-preneur, is an individual who has holes in their life, blind spots in their life, that their success is pending, depending on how they fix those areas. A wholepreneur is an entrepreneur doing entrepreneurship God's way. They're whole. They're just not ambitiously successful professionally, but they are just as, if not more successful in their personal life and in their relationships as they are in a business. So check out those free assessments. I can't wait to hear what y'all scores are and see how I can help you. I love y'all. Pray y'all was blessed by this. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.